Hey
5-4
guys, it's
Tuesday.
Chris, the Natural Progressive. I am here. It's Monday Madness. It's the last Monday Madness of the entire 2019 year. And I have with me today Valhalla 56. I have Jim Massa of Science Talk with Jim Massa. And I have Diane, who's having a little technical issues, but we're hoping to get that straightened out before she comes on. Um, so Anyway, I wanted to say hello to some of the peeps there. Let me hurry up and pull up the chat.
Yeah,
So Lightning Rod and CB are here. Bio. Torstein is here. Hello, Torstein. Let's see. Who else we got going on? Pat the Batman fan. Book Hermit. Oh my gosh, you guys.
awesome. CB.
Yes, CB. You guys. Thank you for coming. The last Monday Madness of the year, 2019. Hopefully we have fun tonight. I really, really, really. Oh, Bio, did I say hi to Bio? I think I did. Um,
Good.
he's always the first person on the chat, so I super appreciate Bio and Lightning Rod. Gosh, you've been here pretty consistently lately, so thank you so much. Um, anyway, so crazy, crazy show last week. I cannot believe how many views that last Monday Madness got. It was like over 500 views. What the hell?
Yes, that is amazing.
It was a really controversial subject. It was
Absolutely.
kind of nuts, and there was different opinions, and holy crap! Hey, race lover, think Happy New Year to you too. Um, so anyway, we are going to have all kinds of fun discussions. Jim Massa is going to start out with some thoughts that he has talking about the temperature there in Fairbanks, Alaska. And I don't know, I'm sure we'll get into many other topics. I do want to go back to last week and some of the comments I received from last week's show, and I'm sure we'll get into many other topics. But anyway, Jim Massa, what is on your mind?
Well, Alaska has seen some of the coldest temperatures that we've had for the past several years. In fact, the temperatures have been below normal, and we're talking in some places in the interior it was down to 55, even 60 below. Now, the coldest it got at my house was 36 below,
So does
and
that mean the Grand Solar Minimalists are correct?
now this has as I said before, studies have shown that the solar cycles contributes at most 4 to 7% of the variability that's seen. So it's not a significant player. No, this is actually tied into the Arctic Oscillation and the North Atlantic
Yeah,
Oscillation.
the weakening of the jet stream because of the warming waters, right?
Well, the AO and the NAO happen to be in a positive phase right now, which actually creates a strong zonal jet stream and cyclonic flow at high latitudes, thus locking in or trapping the cold temperatures up at high latitudes. That's kind of one of the reasons why we kind of cool down a bit.
Yeah,
So it's
we're
the
really cold, like way below normal right now ourselves here in Utah. Like
yeah.
it's in the 20s. Like our highs are kind of in the 20-degree range, which is super
So, in
cold.
other words, you're freezing your balls off.
Yes. I don't have
But
any, but if I had them, they would be freezing off right now.
so basically, it shows that the AO and the NAO are in very strong positive cycles right now, which creates a very strong zonal flow versus a meridional flow with the atmospheric stuff. So yeah, we get a little cool down here, but when you still look at the overall trend, it's way warmer than normal up here in the high Arctic. So
Wow.
but it's just interesting. It goes to show you that a lot of people will mistake weather for climate.
Right,
What it
and
comes
they
down to.
do. I mean, that's the biggest thing I hear from when I go onto the solar minimalist channels. The first thing people say when I push back against it is, but it's cold. It's colder here. It's like that's weather. Climate is a different thing. You kind of gotta understand the difference between the two things. Can we hear
Well,
Diane yet? Can talk
Yeah, it
Diane?
doesn't
I
take
can.
Yes, we can hear
Yeah.
her and we can see her. Yes, yes.
don't touch anything.
Leave it alone. It's
Don't
good.
touch anything.
That's
Jim,
Oh,
Jim,
bad.
when did you say? Jim, when did you say it was minus 36? When did you,
at my house, it was
When?
minus 36 at my house.
When?
Um,
No,
a
that's
couple
not.
days, just recently, like
Okay.
last week,
And you were,
right after Christmas. So, and it got down to like Manly Hot Springs. It got down to 55, 60 below. So
oh my God.
Wow, that's really cold. I don't.
the
I
coldest
couldn't even imagine.
the coldest I've ever personally experienced is 72 below.
Wow, the coldest
Oh,
I personally
wow.
experienced was 20 below, and that was plenty cold enough
Yes.
for me.
Yeah,
Really, I was in Finland when I was 25 below.
Wow.
I was in
yeah,
Rovaniemi.
72 below. I was living in a little cabin, and it was so cold that I had ice on the walls of the cabin.
Hey,
The inside of the cabin, I had
Oh.
ice about 18, 20 inches up off the floor.
that's
The wood
insane.
stove was just not keeping up.
Oh my gosh. Val, really quick, will you introduce Diane for me?
Yes. Diane has a YouTube channel. It was called Diane or Child Free Diane, but for some reason, YouTube took that channel down.
Oh,
Why
I
would-
wonder why. Can't be because they're promoting more childbirths in the U.S.
Maybe
instead
that's
of
it.
less,
But
maybe.
Diane is a new channel, and it's called Diane Natalist. Am I pronouncing
Anti-natalist. Yeah.
Diane Antinatalist?
Yeah.
And-
No. Anti-natalist.
Diane Antinatalist.
Diane
Diane
anti-natalist.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Blend the words together.
No extra syllable.
Anti-natalist. I love it.
Anti-natalist.
She's a wonderful person too, and she's got a Chihuahua there. Is that a
Aw.
Chihuahua? What is that?
Was
The
that a pug?
Chihuahua.
Oh,
Any-
this-
Chihuahua.
okay.
I'm
Any
a nerd
animal
myself.
lover is okay by me. Just saying. I'm a huge animal lover. I have all kinds of animals. I love my animals, although I do promote anti-natalism when it comes to domestic animals and humans. That's my I'm sorry, but we've got to stop screwing up the planet. But I will rescue a dog. You've seen my rescue dog before this show, right?
Yeah.
He's
That's a
so
cute
sweet.
dog.
He's laying at my
No.
feet right now.
Now, are you child-free?
I am not child free. I live in Utah. I was not allowed to be fixed, like have my tubes tied until I had 3 children or I was age 23. And I think that's horrific. Birth control did not work for me. It did not work for my sister. It must be a thing. I guess I could have, if I was not a stupid 20 something year old, I probably wouldn't have even had sex. But I did. I was stupid. And I get all kinds of hell for that. Absolutely. But I have never wanted children. I've convinced all my kids not to have kids. I have 3 kids myself. I have 3 stepkids, and I have convinced all of them not to have kids. So I think I've made up for that. I hope. I don't
Have
know.
they followed your advice?
Yes, I don't have any grandkids other than some step grandkids from another person's kids.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah,
That's good.
and my youngest is 20. Well, will be 23 this coming year. So that's pretty good. My oldest is 30. In Utah, that's really good because everybody has kids before they're, 20 generally.
Oh,
So
that's terrible.
yeah, Utah sucks.
Are you LDS?
No, my whole family is though. Like both my parents came from the LDS church, and my stepdad. Everybody was raised in the Mormon church, but I was never baptized. I'm the only one. My siblings were all baptized. I have 3 siblings. true siblings. I also have a stepsister and adopted brother. My adopted brother is not Mormon, but everybody else was baptized in the church.
Diane Christine is a heretic.
I'm a heathen. My whole family would call me a heathen. So, but yeah, that's a tough thing for me to get through because I really push for lowering the population, yet I have 3 children, and that seems really hypocritical. I never wanted to have kids, so I did. Once you have kids, it's really hard to not love them. You have to love them once you have them. But I never wanted kids. I've never really been a kid person. They like me for some reason, but I'm not a lover of kids. Like I love mine, and
Yeah.
and all, but I'm not a kid. When my kids were little, I'm like, hurry and grow up so I can freaking talk to you. You know, It's like, that's the kind of mother I was. Is like, grow up already. So my kids grew up really fast. They had no choice.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about your political philosophy and what you've done since 2016 when you were super delegate and all that?
Oh, you were a super delegate, Diane?
No, you.
I wasn't a super delegate. I was never a super delegate. I was a state delegate.
Okay, you were okay. So can you start with your political philosophy so everybody will know where you're coming from? Why
Okay.
you're an actual progressive?
Yes, well, okay, my philosophy has changed a lot over the last year, but I started out I used to be a Republican, like I was raised Republican, and I thought Republicans were the good guys. I was raised to believe Republicans were the good guys. And as I learned and found out what Republicans stand for and what Democrats are supposedly standing for, which they really don't, um, I started kind of I voted for Reagan and I voted for
Oh my
Bush
God!
and then I voted for Obama because I started to change at
That's
that
better.
point. Okay, and then yeah,
Nobody's perfect.
Obama was a dismal failure. So
Nobody's perfect. Even
yeah,
him.
okay. So Bernie came into the picture and I got really motivated by Bernie Sanders and I became a delegate. I went to the caucus and stood up to be a delegate for our district, and then I was nominated to be the state delegate for our area. So I went to the state convention and all that for Bernie Sanders, and I would only elect national delegates who were Bernie or bust. That's like it's like Bernie or bust. If you're not for Bernie, fuck you. So um, I went there, and then overwhelmingly, Bernie won our state delegation, except for when the super delegates stepped in, and 2 of the 3 state super delegates for Utah voted for Hillary, even though we Utah 76% of our population or our Democratic population voted for Bernie. 2 of the 3 super
But
delegates
guess
voted for
what?
Hillary.
The election was stolen from Bernie,
Yes.
so you got jaded by that.
Yes.
And then in the local politics, they told you one thing to campaign for the housing thing, but they lied to you.
Oh,
They
you're talking. Okay, that's a local thing, but yeah, but there was a petition, or to put it on the ballot, to stop a high density housing project in our area just up the street from us. And
so
I
you were
didn't want the high density housing because we are the second dry state in the nation for one, and we don't have enough water. We're one of the higher desert areas. There's less water here than most counties, and they wanted to put high density housing, so I'm like, no. And the city councilman that was pushing this petition, when I mentioned the water, he said that's not the issue. And like, fuck yeah, that's the issue. So I was wondering why he said that. And then I found out later they were trying to push another business in, and that business would require as much water as the housing that they wanted to put in. So he didn't want to make it about the water, which is my whole issue. And it was either one or the other. It wasn't going to remain open spaces. It was going to be either high density housing or it was going to be a business. So it was bullshit. Sorry.
The long and short of it was they just lied to you.
Yeah, they lied. They lied to get you to sign their petition. They lied.
So
misled. It was crap. I hate politics so bad.
It seems like all this politics is a lot of misleading and a lot of not being truthful.
Yes, I'm finding that out more and more every freaking day. It's so frustrating.
And so now you're here, and you're putting your voice to the world.
So I decided it was better to focus on my main issue, which is preserving nature.
Preserving nature.
Yeah, so that's
preserving animals.
Yes, taking care of the animals, preserving nature, and reducing human population. Which
I wanna ask Diane here. She's an anti-natalist. We are anti-natalist, but we are not anti-natalist for animals. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you are, or are you anti-natalist totally?
Well, I mean, technically, every single life form that is born is going to be harmed. All of my animals are spayed and neutered, and they will not be reproducing. And I only have one fish, and this is the background. Interestingly, this video allowed me to use a still image. So this is the last image that I took on my camera, so I'm using it as a visual background, which I think is kind of cool. But I only have one fish, so he is not going to be reproducing. But I mean, I don't suspect that anybody is going to be sterilizing all of the wildlife and the livestock, the poultry, and all the domestic animals. That's not going to happen. No. But I am an anti-natalist in respect to all life, because like there's no need to propagate any sort of life. There's no need to replicate anybody, because they're going to harm each other, themselves, and the environment. And but before you asked me to go on to this forum, I was thinking about overpopulation, and it's overpopulation is all about sustainability, but every one of us creates a carbon footprint. Absolutely. So we're all overpopulated, even in small numbers.
Absolutely. Diane, what's your thoughts on the Georgia Guidestones?
I don't know what
with the Georgia Guidestones. Okay, well, we're kind of in agreement here on this channel that the ideal population of the earth, if we're going to not kill everybody, would be about 1 billion people. That would be more ideal than the 7 billion.
Yeah, 7.7 billion.
I know you travel a lot.
Yeah.
And is it like everywhere you go, is it just like mass people? Just people? You went to
people pushing and shoving pushing and clawing, scratching and clawing their way to the top. And airports are so packed now. I mean,
really?
It's crazy. Like, where is everybody going? How does everybody get so much time off? And I understand business professionals who travel, but I'm not talking about business. I'm talking about babies and toddlers and teenagers. Everybody's flying all the time, and airports are congested. Airplanes are practically full. I mean, it's rare that you have.
They're like the Greyhound bus of the sky.
Yes, everybody is flying.
And they have to keep duct tape aboard, so when somebody goes crazy on the plane, they can duct tape them to the chair.
Okay, but wait, can we back up? Can we back up a little bit? Sure. Just a little bit? Sure. Because we got off on this. We all know plane travel is horrible for the environment. I hate it. And I've got to go on 2 plane rides in the next month, and I fucking hate it. It's for work. And I don't go on plane rides unless I absolutely have to, because I think plane travel sucks. Paul is here. Hi, Paul. Anyway,
Hi, Paul.
anyway, oh my God. So, all right. So you understand that we're not going to sterilize all of wildlife and all that. Do you think we should sterilize wildlife? I mean, if that was a possibility, because I don't. I think the humans are the only species on the planet that don't need to be here.
There should be.
Every other
I do.
species
Yeah.
needs to be here, and we don't need to be here. And that goes for all the animals we've
They're
domesticated
not.
as
Oh,
well. I'm not advocating for killing any of them, but
that
just
they're not.
stop
Oh,
breeding them. And I love
Correct.
the
Yeah.
animals. I love rescuing animals. This is what I wanted to get. I was called selfish for my beliefs because people think I'm comfortable. And I'm sorry. I think my animals are way more comfortable than I am. And I think all the wildlife is way more comfortable. For one thing, animals live in the moment. They're not worried about their future. They're they're living in the
Right.
moment, and they experience a lot of joy in the moment. That's the thing humans do not have the ability to do. We're always worried about the past. We're
no.
always worried about
Right.
the future. We don't have the ability to
Yeah.
live in the moment. Animals aren't thinking about their death. They're not worrying about their death. They're just there living in the moment.
They're
So,
not worried about Christmas.
so I think, hold on, Val,
Go ahead.
one more point. The other thing that really bothered me about the ethilists, I'm talking about ethilists, um, is that they really believe that it's playing God to keep nature going the way it is. But I think it's playing God to make that decision for all these animals and anthropomorphizing their 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 fear of dying or suffering, and thinking they're suffering like humans would suffer. I don't understand the concept saying that by wanting to preserve natures, we're anthropomorphizing animals. It's a totally different concept to me. And just to put an exclamation on that point, New Year, or not Year's, Christmas Eve, I spent the whole night with a horse, the oldest horse I have in the pen. She is going to be 35 this year, well
Mm.
past her life expectancy. She went down and she couldn't get up, physically
Mm.
get up. She's very arthritic. She's very old, and we spent all night. There's no way to get a vet out there Christmas Eve. There was no way to do that, so we just stayed out there with her. I gave her some pain medicine, and I was talking to her. And every time I said, it's okay if you're too tired. You lived your life. Every time I said that, she would lift her head and try to struggle to get up. And I'm like, just hold on, give you some pain medicine, let it kick in, and I'll come back and we'll try to get you up. And we did. And me and my husband got her up, and she was so happy to be up, and she peed, and she was like, I needed to pee so bad because she couldn't pee laying down. Um, but it just brings me back to Derek Jensen, and what he always says is life wants to live, and she was so happy to be up and live, and so I don't think people have that capacity to sit there and make that judgment for all other living things and say you need to die. I talk about ethilists, not antinatalists as far as humans and domesticated animals, but ethilists who think that we just need to end all life on Earth. Who gives them the fucking right to say that you need to just end all life because they're going to suffer? That's not your choice to make. It's not.
Nope.
Yeah, and I think that humans do far more damage than like a horse or a fish or a
Absolutely.
cow.
Yes. Yes.
Humans, there's no end to the cruelty of humans. And I was looking up a name on Facebook, and I never found the person. I'm not even sure they're on Facebook because I knew him years ago. But I was typing in his name, right? Well, lo and behold, I got the profile of a young boy, okay, with the same name as the person I was looking at.
Mhm.
And this young boy might have been 7 or so. And he was out in the field, he had just shot a turkey.
Shit.
And obviously his parents promoted hunting. They allowed him to use a gun, and he was gleeful. He was behind the turkey, spreading out the wings. And, it bothers me so much that parents are a part of this and this equation of lacking empathy. So we have a young boy here who's going to grow up. He's going to have a propensity for violence. His hormones are going to kick in, and he's already killed a turkey, and he's already been rewarded, or publicly rewarded for killing an animal. So what chance is that of him growing up to be an empathetic, conscientious human?
None. I can tell you about this person I used to work with, driving trucks, and we'd be talking on the CB, and almost every day he'd say, I need to go kill something. I need to go kill something. And he would go out and shoot birds, just to fucking shoot birds. And this is the kind of people that I'm raised around here. I actually have less of a problem with hunters. Like, my parents were hunters, but they never felt good about killing it, and they used every bit of it for food.
Mhm.
But those that are killing just for the trophy and don't give a
Mm.
shit about it, and are gleeful when they
Yeah.
kill an animal and want to show it off, that makes me sicker than sick.
Yeah.
I don't understand that whole concept. I understand the natural cycle of things and the natural order of things, but I don't understand being gleeful about that process, and finding joy in killing something. I don't understand that at all. So
I mean, it's like they're parading their child. Yeah, look what my child did. So instead of their child learning to play, an instrument or running a marathon, the child kills a living being.
yeah.
And I'm not going to even argue about who's overpopulated. I mean, turkey, deer, that's bullshit. Human beings are overpopulated.
Yeah, human beings, the ultimate invasive species that's invading
Mhm.
all the other environments of every other living creature, and yet we're killing them because they are in the space that we want to occupy.
Yes,
And that bothers me a lot. So there's
Well, if I
that.
can just,
Oh, Sandy's here. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
actually, I am not of the opinion that 1 billion people is the correct level. It's way less.
Yes.
As I discussed
Who
in
said
my, I
that?
have a video. As I discussed it in my video that's on my channel about human population.
That's an excellent
When,
video, by the way. Go watch it. It explains everything. He charts, graphs, everything. Right.
looking through many papers where the scientists try to arrive at the optimal carrying capacity for a number of people on the planet, the median value is actually 100 million. Now, some of the
That's
estimates
what I've heard
I've seen,
too. Yeah.
I've seen estimates as low as 20 million and up as high as 600 million. Take it with a grain of salt, whatever.
But I
the
think
median
now
value
that
is
we've
about,
degraded the planet, I think it's lower than the original estimates, because we've degraded the planet so much, and we've
probably.
used up so much of the resources. It has to
Yeah.
be lower than the original estimates. It has
Yeah,
to be.
some people place it at 200 million, as Sandy's saying here. Whatever,
Yeah.
100, 200 million is way less than what we've got. 7.8 billion now.
Oh, Amanda's in there. Sorry.
So if you look at 100 million, if you take that, we're 78 times above the carrying capacity, which is completely, totally not sustainable.
Okay, I feel like Amanda should be in here since she's here. If you want to come on, Amanda. Oh wait, that's not the right link. I'm just gonna post this link anyway. This is Climate Crush TV. Let me get the link for Amanda. Climate Crush TV is Torstein's really cool. Oops, I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on, I made a mess of this. Hold on, let me try this again.
You've had a long day doing
I
research.
have. I've been doing resets.
I bet there were children
Oh my
everywhere.
gosh, Amanda,
There were children.
I would rather you come on and talk if you can, because I really want to know what she said something about the FLIS don't advocate. I'm sorry, I'm taking from Gary, that Gary guy. I watched an interview he did with Collapse Chronicles, not Collapse Chronicles, Humpty Dumpty Tribe, same guy. Anyway, Sam Mitchell, Hambone, and I just could not believe what he had to say. So I'm not taking this from what Amanda said from Fox. Oh God, what is her freaking channel? Fox something. She's
Forever,
a,
Forever Wolf Films.
oh, Forever Wolf Films. Yes, I'm not taking this from what Amanda said when she was on this last week. I'm taking this from what Gary said in his interview with Sam Mitchell, Humpty Dumpty
right.
Tribe, Hambone. That
Christine, Gary is very advanced. He's very advanced level of this thing, and we should probably leave it at that.
yeah. I don't know, but I want Amanda to definitely have her say if she wants, because she is so sweet. I love her to
She is.
death.
We want to keep it that way because she's doing something for us.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, can you see your chat, Diane, at all?
Yeah, my chat.
Yeah, the chat.
The chat
Okay.
room.
Hi, Scott. Scott's here. Sandy, did you guys listen to William Rees' Sun Collapse Chronicles? Yes, that was the best. Oh my God. Did you hear that today? I mean,
Yeah.
it was Sunday, but I listened to it on the way to work today. Oh my God. That was amazing.
It's a stark revelation.
Yeah, Hambone and Sam are not the same guy. No, yeah, you know.
No, I think there's I mean, the book's been out for quite some time, but there's a lesson in Jared Diamond's Collapse. And it was a kind of the follow up to his Guns, Germs, and Steel book. But in Collapse, he really examines why certain civilizations collapsed. And typically it would be just stripping the resources out. Where it's
Okay,
not
Amanda
sustainable.
doesn't feel up to coming on, but
Habibi?
she
That's it.
appreciates
Yeah,
the
I just want to
offer.
tell Amanda I just got this book.
Moosecow, go to Humpty Dumpty Tribe and look up what's his name, Gary. What's his channel name? It's in I don't remember his freaking channel name. Sandy, if you can remember what that channel name is, could you post that for Moosecow? By the way, hi Moosecow. Good to have you on. Someone asked if Diane was Moosecow, so I think that's kind of funny. Never. What is that? Oh, that.
It's a book, and I ordered it. And I didn't think it was this thick. It's a really thick book, and it's a great book. And,
someone wants to jump in.
I
don't know this person, but okay.
Well, I recommend this for anybody to get. Habibi. It's a great book.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. Lucola? Lucio? Okay, but yeah, we're not going to make this too long tonight because I have had a very long day already. It's only going to get longer. I don't even know how I'm going to work the shows. By the way, I have to talk to you, Val. Don't let me forget to talk to you before you go about next week, because life is going to go to hell next week.
Oh, we don't want to hear that.
I talked to Oz though, and he's willing to run the program. So
not good.
Oh, you'll be fine. No worries.
We'll have to put in the view. Get Whoopi Goldberg to come on.
Okay.
You think Whoopi Goldberg will come on and sub for you?
Who?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh fuck! If she did, I'd shoot her.
Is anybody aware of the phenomenon of large families who go on not to reproduce or to have very few family members, few children?
Okay, kind of say that again.
Yeah, I think she got frozen.
She froze up.
I think she was talking with big families who don't have, they don't end up having children then.
Oh, okay. How do you pronounce your name?
I mean, right now in the chat, it's, either Lucian, it was on YouTube, or here it's Eurydos. I'm not turning on my camera now because I'm not showing my face. You can easily see it on my channel. It's just that it's really late where I am right now, and I shouldn't be too loud, essentially. But I just wanted to jump in because Amanda couldn't.
Okay.
So, yeah.
No problem. Welcome. What do you want me to call you?
Eurydos is fine.
Eurydos? Okay, Eurydos, what do you have to say?
Thanks.
Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, I mean, for now, I don't necessarily have a specific message to, I'm just jumping in for now. So just so you know, I am, I am technically a nephalist and an internalist. I also went vegan about 2.5 years ago. Been doing animal rights activism for about a year and a half, just so you know where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Apart from that, I'm not really trying to bring anything to the conversation. I'm just going to wait and see, what ideas are shared and maybe react to that sometimes. But
okay,
if that's
well,
okay.
I don't know if we have any more ideas on just the reaction to the Amanda. And actually, it wasn't just Amanda. It was the video I watched of Gary interviewing on Humpty Dumpty Tribe that freaked me out really bad, and saying that pretty much people were playing God by not killing off all of the animals, and I just did not understand that concept. It's like, isn't that playing God to kill off animals?
Well, I mean, if you have the ability to do it, you're kind of playing God in both situations. I guess a better analogy would be, what if you had a choice to whether or not implant life on another planet? Like, should you have the right to do that? How do you justify it from an ethical standpoint? I mean, if you really think about it, if you had to implant life on another planet, you would be, continuing the cycle of life. Like, what would it be accomplishing? Because obviously, you'd have a lot of suffering happening on it as a result.
Well, there's always
So,
going to be suffering, and even if you
right,
eliminated all life on this planet now, the same cycle would repeat itself, because that we've had 6 mass extinctions, probably 7. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yes.
But
right, yeah,
there's all these extinctions that happen, but life wants to live, so life will keep propagating.
well,
But the
it's
problem is humans are causing most of the suffering, not
Mm.
wildlife. Animals don't think of suffering the same way we do. They don't think about it the way we do. So,
well, going back to the idea that life wants to continue. It's more like it's good at doing it. It's not really that it has any intention to do so. Can we agree
oh,
on
I
that
can
wording
tell you
here?
that life wants to live. I saw that
Well,
old horse of mine, and she wanted to live. She did not want to die. And on top of that, I had my last old horse that I had to put down. He was 34 years old, and he was down. He could not get up. We could not get him up. There was nothing we could do. Um, he was still eating. He did not want to die. But I
like
could
I don't
not sit
doubt
there
that,
and
but
let him starve to death, so I had to put him down. But anyone saying that, who wants to put down all the wildlife and all that, has never had to make the decision to put an animal down. Like, when you're put in that position, especially with an animal that you know and love, it's like, I don't understand that concept of how you can just say we just need to end all suffering, and that's what the animals want. I don't think that's what the animals want.
so I want to address multiple points here. I was talking about, I mean, you were talking about life first, and then now you talk about sentient beings, right? You were talking about sentient being when you were talking about the horse. So yes, I would agree with you that sentient beings do have, for the most part, a desire to continue their existence. Um, but that's a subset of life as a whole. Like, you can't really say that moss has some experiences some desire to continue to exist and to reproduce. It's just what it does, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, but they want to.
But here's the thing.
It's
There's no
more than
way
just an instinct. I think it's a
there there's no way you can compare the amount of suffering humans, highly sentient beings, to animals. They just don't suffer from worrying about taxes, can't chemotherapy. They don't worry about cop just pulled them over. They're going to get a ticket. They don't have sexual jealousy.
they don't worry about paying their mortgage.
Oh,
They
They
don't
don't
I
worry
worry
think they
about.
do actually. I would say that some species definitely experience some kind of sexual jealousy. I
Oh
mean, you
yeah,
can see
yeah.
males fighting each other all the time just to get access to females in many
All
species.
animals do that, Val.
I mean, not all of them actually, but
Most of them.
I don't know.
99.9% of
Hey,
animals
you can't
definitely
tell me
experience
that
sexual jealousy.
animals don't even have infatuations or crushes. They don't. They just do it.
No, I think they kind of do.
in
I think
fact, you
they
have some
do.
bird species. You have some bird species that are monogamous for their entire lives.
Yes,
Actually,
there's a few. There's
I mean,
always
there is some emotional attachment there, surely.
You know what? I think what the heart of the matter is that our Earth is human influence like never before.
Yes.
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 And you know,
I mean-
like I was born in '61, and the birth rate.
Wow, you look
global.
young. Holy crap.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
same time
58.
period.
Wow.
But you know, the global world population has doubled since my birth year, and the quality of life has just gone down. It's a disposable world community. Everything is disposable. Everything is just cheap and cheaper.
Even the animals, even our lovely pets are disposable to most people.
Well,
That's
it's
how
not
I
just-
got most of my dogs, is because they were disposable to other people.
I mean,
Yes,
pets
me
are only
too.
a minority of
I had
animals.
I had a sled dog team, and every single one of the dogs I've ever owned, every single one of the cats I've ever owned, have all been rescues. Every
Yeah,
single
that's-
one of them.
I would like to
but-
congratulate you for that.
Most of my
And they all-
horses are rescues, and all my dogs are rescues. All my cats are rescues. I do not just get animals.
I mean, pets are really a minority of the problem if you really look at it. I mean,
Well, they
if we
are. No,
if
it's
if,
the
if,
animals
if we
raised
focus
for
on
food
mammals,
are
right?
huge.
Exactly. Yeah, the majority. If you look at mammals and birds, I mean, and birds perhaps I don't know what percentage of the biomass of birds is actually those that we raise for for food, but for mammals it would definitely be a majority. I think at this point it's just cattle and pigs and all those other
Goats.
animals.
Goats is actually the #1 meat on the planet that's eaten.
I mean, I'm not surprised because the goats are
Oh.
really good at thriving in different environments. So
Well, just remember though that by when you look at biomass, there's more biomass of prokaryotic organisms than eukaryotic.
yeah, no,
organisms.
that's why I was talking with mammals and birds specifically. But yeah, definitely when you look at total biomass, it's not going to be sentient beings for the most part, surely.
But you know, the
So I'm
more
not
of us, the more
But
of us
there's
that
another thing to
exist.
think about also. You're talking about birds and mammals that we harvest. Let's look at what we're doing to the oceans. All the fish species we're
Oh,
harvesting,
there's that too. Yeah.
and their and shellfish. Oyster, clams, what have you.
I mean, should we
So
worry about those? I mean, fish definitely. I would say that there's
We
strong
should be
evidence
worried
suggesting
about
that fish
every
are sentient.
living thing.
the oceans are dying right now.
Other
Should we
than
though?
humans. Humans is
The
the
oceans
only
have been
unnecessary.
Can I finish, please?
Yes.
The
yes.
oceans have been overfished to the point of whole stocks of collapsing. Ironically, the one place that has the best management is the Alaskan salmon fisheries, and there's a big push to get the Pebble mine, which is in Bristol Bay. They want to get that mining for this, that, and the next damn thing. And if that happens, you can kiss the Bristol Bay salmon fisheries goodbye. And Bristol Bay salmon fishery is one of the most important fisheries on the planet.
I mean, look, I don't want to deny the idea that for some parts of, for some groups of sentient life, especially mammals and birds and probably fish, fish too,
What is that?
that humans are most likely the main cause of whatever suffering goes down on this planet right now. I don't want to deny that. That's not the position I'm trying to bring here. I mean, especially when it comes to mammals, for example, which we know, I mean, we're close to them, so there's more evidence suggesting that, they're sentient and everything, although I don't know exactly where we should consider things are not sentient. I mean, I ask myself a lot of questions about insects, right? Because there's so many of them. Even if they had like 1% of the capacity for suffering than, a mammal, there's so much more numerous that perhaps they should be a group that should be much more considered than compared to other species, right?
Well, actually, if you want to really break it down, okay, there are more species of coleopterans than there are of all vertebrates combined. And that's just one
Right.
order
I mean, it's
of
not just
insects.
species; it's also the number of individuals.
Well, hang on. There are only about approximately 4,000 species of mammals total worldwide. And that includes monotremes and that includes marsupials.
Yeah.
And the numbers are not great. When you actually look at if you want to talk about just pure numbers of mammalian representatives, most mammals are rats and bats. I mean, Rodentia is the largest order of mammals. Okay, so most people think when you say mammals, they think of rhinos and giraffes and that kind of stuff. It's a very small representation of it.
It is.
Birds
Yeah.
are the of all vertebrate species of non-aquatic vertebrates. The most number of species you have are birds. The most number of species of vertebrates are fish. That's just and which makes sense because the planet is 75% covered in oceans. The planet should be called Oceanus, but that's another story. But anyway, so
I mean, it's true. It is true.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you may be thinking that there is no purpose in life for animals. That if this planet,
I mean, they definitely see a purpose in their own lives. They definitely have goals in their minds. It's just that when you really take a look at it, when you take a step back, I think the question I want to ask is, what is sentient life accomplishing apart from trying to satisfy needs, satisfy desires, fixing problems that are caused by its own existence?
okay, so for roughly 2 billion years, the planet had life. 65 billion years ago, the dinosaurs existed for 165 million years. The purpose I see is that it is great for an space alien archaeologist to come and study this planet and possibly make Earth a vacation spot for space aliens.
What the fuck are we getting into this now for?
That's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay, no, but okay, I don't see why we have to actually.
I'm talking about turning it
Hold on. Okay, can I just respond to, because I feel like this is getting out of my control here. As far as life having sentience, having a purpose, why do we have to have a fucking purpose? That's a totally human construct. Like, humans are the only ones worried about having a purpose. Animal sentient beings, most of them, other than humans, just like to live. They find joy in living. They're not worried about the future. They're not worried about the past. They're not worried about what function they have. They're just living. I don't understand the whole concept. Why people, that's totally anthropomorphizing. I can't even say that fucking word.
Yeah, but
On
I get the word.
animals. They don't care what their fucking purpose is. I don't care what my purpose is. I just want to be, I want to express myself.
Maybe you want to ride a dinosaur.
I don't want to ride a dinosaur. I have my horse. And we're partners in crime. We love each other.
What, get a pet ostrich?
I don't want a pet ostrich. My horse Foxy is
birds
the
are
most
dinosaurs.
beautiful, wonderful
It was a
horse.
joke.
I know.
It was a joke. Birds are dinosaurs.
I got you.
It was a joke.
All right. But no, I don't understand why the ephelis community is sitting there thinking the animals think the same way we do, and they put the same pains that we have onto the animals. No, you didn't. But most of it comes from this Gary guy. What's his last? I don't know who this Gary guy is. Mendham. Yeah, most of it comes from him. And if you listen to him, he's saying all this stuff.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of purpose is more like, if you see that the whole game is kind of some kind of gladiator war that nature's, kind of based on competitions, like it's just DNA molecules.
No, it's a proven fact that cooperation is a stronger force than competition.
To a limited extent.
To
a limited extent.
No.
E.O. Wilson would disagree with you.
To a limited extent.
He's studied altruism in great detail among the ant colonies. And it found that there's first of all, there is an evolutionary selective advantage for altruism in a number of species. So don't discount altruism straight away.
Altruism will only work to a limited extent. That's the thing, is that like whatever gene gives you some kind of altruistic behavior, okay, is only going to keep existing as long as this altruistic behavior helps this gene maintain its own existence in some way. So the core of the game is still selfishness. This altruism will always exist only in some limited way.
Well, it all depends how you want to define limited. I mean, that you're trying to assign a value that's probably a little tricky to do so. I mean, if it works for the species in question, it works, and that trait will persist and continue on. And however,
Yeah, but the trait is self-serving in a sense. Like the genes that are responsible for creating this trait in the first place only get to continue to exist because this behavior, conjoined with all the members of the species adopting the certain behavior, makes those individuals more likely to survive and reproduce, which makes those individuals carrying those genes that will code favors this cooperative behavior more likely to continue. But you won't see like we can be altruistic towards each other, like we can feel empathy for each other. I don't see that much empathy going on when it comes to I don't know, like trees. I mean, we don't really feel that much compassion for trees. I mean, in what way should we be advantaged by showing that much compassion for trees, for example? I mean, that's
Okay,
not something
plants show
that's
compassion
that obvious
for
for
each
us.
other because they will send messages to other plants when there's an invasive like insect, which makes them alter their DNA in order to protect themselves from that like insect attacking them or a disease attacking them. They actually have that communication, and that's
Is that example
cooperation.
right? Is that example among a similar species, or is that interspecies too?
That is just, I'm sorry, I am not a scientist, but Jim will probably have
See,
more
no,
feedback on that. But this is just a study I've read about how plants will communicate
Chris,
with each other and let other plants know if
individuals,
there's an
yes.
invasive species around them, they can communicate and alter their genetics to protect them. That's
So
cooperation.
I know of such examples in the same species of plants. Okay, so
Okay.
it's one species. So okay, so do you understand that the only reason why such behavior arose is because like you can think of two groups of those plants living in quite similar environments but still separate, right? And you can think of one of the groups where this trait is present in multiple individuals and one where it's not. So obviously if the plants have some ability to react as a group to some threat that happens, that's going to make them less likely to get eaten. They're going to have more resources to reproduce and to survive. So that's going to make it more likely for those genes coding for that quote unquote altruistic behavior to be able to continue to exist. Meanwhile, the other one will be at a disadvantage. And so in the long run, you would expect the group that has this altruistic behavior to continue to exist. But it will only be selected because here the gene that would code for that altruistic behavior would help its own survival. So it's still a selfish gene logic here.
Everything is selfish as far as your own species, but
Well, not just no. You have cooperation that happens between different species. I mean,
okay, it does
like,
happen between different species though, because
right?
there's the cooperation between prairies and animals like buffalo, where the
Pollination
not just
Oh, you
with
pollination,
bees.
get
but
No, no,
animals.
I'm just
the
giving another
grasses
example.
that need to be mowed down by the buffalo, and the buffalo eat them, and then change the chemistry from what they eat and spread fertilizer to the plants, and it's a perfect symbiotic system. It's cooperation. There's a lot of cooperation that happens in nature. It's not all competitive.
I mean, most of it really is. I mean, it's still a
There's this
function of genes that continue to exist because they manage to improve the chances of their own
yes,
survival.
Paul, it's called a symbiotic relationship. And that's how Earth evolved. Nothing could have evolved without a symbiotic relationship of one sort or another. And humans can't even pretend to understand the whole system. I mean, it's really ridiculous for them to even think that they even have an inkling of understanding of how this world evolved and why it evolved. And who are we to say what should live and what should not live, and we should just end it all because of suffering? And who's to say who is suffering or who is not suffering? I mean, God, humans suffer more than any freaking animal on the planet, and we do it to ourselves. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
I
Well,
don't,
actually, nature kind of did that to us by allowing our existence in the first place.
to allow us to evolve to that point. But humans are supposedly the superior intellectual being.
We're
You'd think
not.
we would
Well,
understand that we are fucking with ourselves. Hey, quit chewing on that, you naughty dog.
I mean, surely you won't deny that there's exploitation going on in nature. You have parasites, we have
Well,
predation, all
no,
this stuff. I mean, that's not really
parasites are not
symbiotic, is it?
exploitation. That is symbiotic. Parasites
There,
are a
there are three.
symbiotic relationship.
I just
I mean,
posted a comment. There are three types of symbiotic relationships. You have parasitism, you have commensalism, and you have mutualism. Parasitism is when one organism does well at the expense of the host organism.
At the expense of the host.
Commensalism,
So
one
how is that?
organism, let me finish. One organism does well, the other organism is neither adversely or positively affected. And mutualism is when both are benefited from the relationship. So it's important to keep that in mind. There are three types of symbiotic relationships.
But it's still a symbiotic relationship. I mean, even the parasites are somehow benefiting another portion of the whole ecology, right? I mean, aren't the parasites eventually eaten by something, or they're breaking down something that and digesting something and making it into nutrients for something else? I mean, at some point,
It
there's a
depends on
purpose
the
for it.
it depends on the life cycle you're looking at. It depends if what the vector species are. It depends on what the do they form a cyst or not. I mean, there's so many different types of parasitism that goes on that we would have to take a whole semester course
But
in parasitology. Yeah,
But
seriously,
humans
their
can't
whole
pretend to understand the whole fucking system. We can't reproduce it. We can't replicate nature any way we even try. It's not going to happen. And there's a reason why every species has evolved the way it has. That is why we exist today. Unfortunately, we exist, but that's why everything else has flourished. We have unfortunately in thousands of years destroyed what it took millions of years to evolve to. So I don't know. God,
I mean,
I don't know. I'm
I mean,
frustrated by
I
the
think
whole
for human being,
concept.
I think human beings are doing the same thing that most life forms are actually trying to do. They're really trying to be the most efficient when it comes to their own survival and reproduction. It's just that human beings managed to pass some kind of threshold because of this, intelligence that we progressively were able to build up, and this technology, and we had just this technological explosion that just allowed us to invade so many different, ecological niches that are not necessarily available to other species, at least not in such a wide way. But I would argue that you could give like human level intelligence to many other species. I mean, you could give it to a chimpanzee, or I mean, it doesn't really necessarily have to be, um, you know, like some kind of monkey or anything. But the point is that if it has some kind of
Raccoons are going to be the
physical,
next intelligent species I've heard.
I mean, just think about it. If you give human intelligence to raccoons, I mean, wouldn't they do exactly the same thing we're doing? I mean, don't you think it would be
Probably
the end?
I mean, but it doesn't matter if you destroy all living things on Earth right now. The whole process will still start over again. So
That's not what I talked about.
I don't understand the point.
That's not what I talked about here.
So
I'm just
what is the
pointing.
point? What is your point?
I'm just pointing out that the only reason why the rest of life on this planet is not as in quote unquote invasive as we are is just because it can't be. It doesn't have the ability to do so because it doesn't have this adaptive ability that we do. That's it. But
Well,
it's just
But
as
you just
invasive
said
and as
that any other animal could evolve to that. But that's going to
I
happen
I didn't say that.
no, you didn't, but that's a natural process.
No, not as I mean, you think it would be natural process for other species to adapt to human level intelligence? Is that what you're saying?
No, well, there could be. You just said that. You said there's different species.
No, I said if you give human level intelligence to some other species, it would probably do the same thing we do. I'm not claiming that there's any
Okay, so
evolutionary path for raccoons to become as intelligent as we are.
what's the purpose of getting rid of all living things? Like, what's the purpose?
Getting rid of suffering. And you
Okay,
already
then
know
it's
that
going
answer.
to start by, again, even if we accomplish that, which is not going to happen, which is a ridiculous concept to begin with, it's not going to
Well,
happen. Nobody is going to agree to do that. But if we did, the whole process eventually would start all over again.
I mean, you realize that the whole I mean, you talked about different crises that life went through in her Earth history, and that's true. But I mean, you realize that life was not entirely wiped out. Like in each of those different events, like it was just a majority of
So
it,
you want to
or at
wipe
least
out all life entirely, so there's no chance of it, but it would still happen. I mean, one way or another, life
there's two
wants to
ways,
live.
Christine. There's two ways that can happen. I mentioned this before. There is panspermia, which is life coming to this planet, hitching a ride on an asteroid or a comet. And comet asteroids hit every day. And
I just really want to know what the point of this is. What is the point of Altruism? What is the point?
The point, he told you. The point is
to stop suffering. But you're never going to stop suffering.
That's their only point.
I mean, you're just making an appeal to futility here. I mean, at least if you can temporarily stop it.
That's what Altruism is making an appeal to futility. There's going to be suffering no matter what you do. It's happening right now.
No, that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. You're saying, well, there's going to have suffering no matter what, so it's pointless to try to reduce it even temporarily.
No, it is no. There is a point to reducing suffering, and doing that is reducing the human influence on the process, because humans cause the most suffering of any animal on the planet.
Well, look, we can agree on that. That's why I do animal rights activism. So
yes,
yeah, we agree on that.
Why don't we just focus on that instead of focusing on ending all life on Earth? That's what I would like to know.
When did I say I was focusing on that?
I'm sorry, I'm going off of Gary's thing. Like when he did that interview with Humpty Dumpty Tribe, Hambone. You listen to that, and he's the starter of Altruism. He's the one that started that whole concept. So I'm going off of what he said.
Well, look, I use it more as a framework. Like, okay, life is fundamentally broken. It doesn't mean that the only thing you should be focusing on is trying to work on some plan to eliminate life. I have nowhere near, any knowledge or resources to be able to organize that. I don't have enough people to do that. In the long run, it's much more feasible that I can prevent more suffering by convincing people to have less children, or to no longer consume animal products. So that's why that's what I tend to focus on.
I love that. Let's focus on that. Let's do that.
But understand it's still so I'm not like pretending I'm just advocating for Altruism mainly. That's all I'm doing. But I think it's still an interesting framework in the sense that if you understand life is fundamentally broken, I think it does allow you to take some distance from whatever's happening in nature. I mean animals out there are killing their babies, they're eating the baby. I mean it's not
generally nature has a reason
role.
If they kill a baby, it's like that's how they control their population.
Or
there's a problem with that baby, like it has a disability and it would suffer long term if it didn't.
And sometimes it's purely selfish gene logic. You have male baboons when they take over a new community of
and male rabbits will kill female baby
to pass on their genes.
Of another males, and there's all kinds of stuff like that.
Christine, let me take a different.
That's competition. That's selfish gene logic.
Yuri, we're going to take a different tack here, man.
We're almost done, guys. So don't get too deep in a conversation. But ding. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm sorry if I get a little hardcore on you, but I'm very opinionated. I don't know if you noticed.
Okay,
I can tell.
But it's my show. I have a right to have my opinion on my show. Damn it.
Do this or not,
Joe? What did you say?
What if you got your wish, man? What if you got your wish of total extinction on this planet? Would you be happy?
Well, I wouldn't be, so I wouldn't be happy.
Okay. Well, how would you feel about that? That your wish of total extinction could happen.
Okay. How? I mean, just by pressing a button or something?
This channel is about abrupt climate change. Okay. Guy McPherson is saying that the entire planet will be sterilized.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
Huh?
See, I don't think it will. To me, climate change is really a good way to mess it.
You do realize that the term they use is
climate change is in process right now. We're fucked.
Mass extinction.
Well, I'm not denying that, but I'm just not.
So what I'm saying is, you're wishing upon a star. It's happening now. There's going to be a mass.
It's not. It's not. I mean, there's going to be a massive crisis. It's not going to wipe out life, and it's just going to cause a lot of harm, and it's going to kill in a really messy way.
Okay, wait. William Martyr, I love you. Our purpose is to thrive and not fuck things up worse, and if at all possible, to make them better. I wish to God that's what people would strive for, which means reducing your population and preserving nature as much as possible. Get out of the fucking way of nature. And but
this Yuri is saying that we're not in the mass extinction. We are.
Guy and Gary did.
Well, no. We are, but I was more like disagreeing with the idea that would sterilize the planet, which is
You're
which is just
welcome, Tanya.
Wrong again. There's the exponential release of greenhouse gases that could technically bring this planet to 200 degrees, 200 Fahrenheit degrees. That is sterilizing the planet.
Hey, let
You
them
may be aware of Gary, but you're not aware of Guy McPherson, of the many other scientists who are saying that this is going to a dead planet.
Hey,
They're
Amanda
going
said
to
the guy
it.
did an interview with Gary.
Guy, yeah, he did.
I didn't. I gotta see that now.
Other's asses.
I don't know. Okay, Amanda knows that I'm new to this whole fucking topic for one.
Look,
I mean,
And it just blows my mind. I was freaked out when I was on with Paul and Brian on Head in the Box. I freaked out. I literally had a freak out. I couldn't sleep for days thinking about this topic. It was I just it blew my mind. It blew my head, and I just it makes me disgusted. It makes me sick to think about people hating nature, not understanding how like nature is nature, and that's the way it evolved, and
the
I know
evolution is
animals.
not a process that has any intent. It doesn't know what it's doing. It has no consideration for the value of
I
suffering.
know, and like people who have a consideration for the value of suffering, understand suffering, yet still love to impose suffering on every other being on the planet without a fucking care, without a
Well, that's
care in
on
the
my team,
world.
Chris. That's not my team. You
Okay,
understand
well,
that?
good. I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you. And I know that's not Amanda either because she has dogs. She loves dogs, and I'm sure she loves all other animals.
Okay, so how are we doing on time here? Because I was
We
going
are
to
done pretty much. So let's
well, should
read
I
some.
mention?
Everybody read some comments.
Should
On
I? Should I?
my dog
Should I,
keeps chewing on my shoes.
should I mention? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mention the seventh
Come
mass
here, you brat.
that
That brat.
many of you may not have even been aware.
No, I am aware of it, but I have a question though about this whole topic. Is that like I mean, you realize that even a few degrees of that, more in the atmosphere would cause pretty much a collapse of human civilization.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
but the thing is, like, you talked about 200 degrees. I mean that would
Yeah, that's what
that
I'm
would
talking about. 200.
like would that
Go
like
to
is it?
buddy. Go to the Arctic News blog spot. Arctic News, Sam Carena. They're talking about 2 articles down.
Go
I'm not agreeing with this, but they're saying we may be extinct this year, 2020.
Yeah.
No, I just have one question though about that. Is it supposed to mean that we would kickstart some chain reaction that would end up like really way more?
Yes, it's called the exponential function.
There's a lot of people that are going to die in 2020. I can tell you that right now. I don't know if all life is going to
hell,
end.
all that has to happen is Yellowstone blows up, and then we're fucked.
Or the methane bomb.
Oh yeah, Yellowstone definitely.
Whatever.
That thing blows, we're fucked.
The exponential function is a doubling. Okay, so yes, this planet could go to 200 degrees. In fact, they're talking about in a couple of years that daily temperatures will be in the 140s. They were last summer.
Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Fahrenheit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those.
Okay, but that's what they're having.
Okay, guys, really, it is time to call it a
Let's
night.
end it.
All right.
Let's end it.
I've already had a long day.
Joe, perhaps we could stay in touch. Joe, perhaps we could continue this conversation in private.
Well, I'm an antinatalist, man. I'm an antinatalist.
No. Well, I mean, it wasn't really about your position on antinatalism. It was more about like what your claims about like some people's position when it comes to climate change and how bad it could be. That's what I'm interested in because you were talking about that.
It's going to be real bad, dude. It's going to be a motherfucker.
Yeah, but can we continue this conversation in private then, and end the show here?
Yeah. Just
Okay, can you guys read comments and
leave a comment in the video
and hang in for a second, and you can talk to Val after we end this if you would like for a minute.
Hey, I gotta mention. Did I mention the 7th mass extinction?
Okay.
Yes, you did.
I did.
And I heard of it, and I know it's a thing, but it's a mass extinction. It's not a total extinction, which is.
Well, they're saying that this is an unknown. That this is a previously unknown mass extinction. And let me read this. This is really short, really important. Scientists believe that the Earth is currently going through the 6th mass extinction.
It is.
I covered up another such incident in the planet's past that researchers have overlooked. This is new, okay? This is brand new.
Really, Val, we really need to get out of here.
Okay, let's go. Shit.
But
you
look,
guys
I'd be
read
glad to
some
continue this
comments.
conversation in private.
You can after, but I need to end. I have a dog I gotta attend to. Actually,
Yeah,
if
sure.
you want to continue, I will just zero. I gotta.
Oh,
I don't think I can mute my microphone. Can tell me if you can hear me.
Yes, normally
Can
you
you
can.
hear
It's at the
me?
bottom left of your
Can you
window.
hear me?
Get it.
You can click it.
That the
Okay.
mute
Have your
icon is
microphone
I'm
on.
not sure what she's
Yeah.
wanting to do here. I mean, are we saying goodbye? Okay.
I guess so.
I'm
Well, we
gonna
didn't have
do it,
time.
okay. I'm gonna do it. Well, first, before we say goodbye, I'm going to mention again.
Oh God.
The First Amendment. That the First Amendment is not absolute. So I think we should start thinking about using the First Amendment to shut down climate change deniers. That they do not have the freedom of speech to lie and endanger the whole planet. Okay, that's one thing. I'm not sure if she's coming back. I don't know what the heck she's doing.
I mean, is that? I mean, that's only relevant to the U.S., right? I mean, I'm from Europe. I mean,
what's that, man?
I'm not from the U.S. I'm from Europe, so maybe.
Okay, well, I forgot what I was talking about. The First Amendment. Yes, only relevant to the U.S. But I guess
there's a lot of climate deniers in the U.S.
Yeah, we got lots of them. That's why we want to do it. Christina, you want us to say goodbye? What is it that you want here, Mustang? Okay. Any rate, I don't know what she is wanting.
Thinks it's taking the dog out.
I just need to take care of my dog for a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Then go ahead and do it. The scientists say that this event in question, known as the in Guadalupe biodiversity crisis, took place around 260 million years ago, and the severity has previously been underestimated. This is a new mass extinction they just come up with. The anti-Guadalupe crisis was considered by many as a minor extinction. The latest data, however, suggested around 60% of marine species became extinct, and possibly an equal number of non-marine species. So the in Guadalupe crisis was apparently a major mass extinction. This has just been recognized. It's
just that it wasn't as obvious because it wasn't land animals that were.
I think they come up with new data, but basically this is out of a Newsweek article from a.
I believe you.
So
I know there was a mass extinction for the dinosaurs that was most likely not caused by an asteroid, but by volcanic activity that essentially blocked off the sun, and so you can have any.
Yuri, I'm not trying to prove a point here. I'm just passing information along.
So it would be the 7th mass extinction that we're in right now. Instead of
that we are in the 7th mass extinction now. Yes, correct. Okay, you want to say goodbye?
Yes, I'm sorry. I had a dog being annoying as shit. I had to deal with it.
It's a rescue dog.
Yes, he is a rescue dog that I love very, very much. And there was so many comments I wanted to respond to, and I couldn't get a second to do it. But Amanda had some interesting things to, and I forgot what she said already because I was trying to deal with my dog.
Well, you make me dizzy too.
I don't know. But you guys, Zox, I forgot to say hi to Zox. Moose Gal's here. William Martyr. Sandy's here, of course. Thank you, Sandy, for coming. I think she's becoming an Nephalist. I'm not sure. I've only seen a few comments. They're like, "You're an Nephalist now? What?" I don't know. Well, but me and Sandy are going to talk on the 5th, Sunday, the 5th of January. It's my birthday. It's also my 2-year anniversary of starting this channel, although I only started posting videos 10 months ago.
Wait.
But
it's funny. So you created your channel the day of your birthday?
Yes, on my birthday, 2018.
That's pretty funny.
But I didn't really do videos till 10 months ago. I was, however, on Uphill Media and Graham Elwood and a couple other places before I started posting on my channel. But so yeah, 2-year anniversary of my show to the date and my birthday, I'm going to do a Facebook Live with Sandy on Environmental Coffee House.
Hurrah!
So yeah, it should be 5 Mountain, 7 Eastern on Facebook. So I've never been on Facebook before. Hopefully all the tech works out. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, Mark J, hey, good to see you. Join us, Ephelis, on Discord. He's got a Discord channel for the Ephelis. And he wants you, Urdaz, to be on it, I guess.
No, I'm already on it actually, and
Okay,
so
cool.
is Old Fan. She's on there too.
Okay, follow that link, Paul, that Mark J put up if you want. That works. Also,
Yeah,
I
we
guess go to
could continue our
Climate Crush
conversation on it, I guess.
TV after it's Frozen Earth. God, I'll get it wrong. Fuck. Okay, go to the description of the video. I put the link to Climate Crush TV. Going South has some coverage of the Australian wildfires going on there. So if you want to keep up to date on that, go to that. The link is in the description. I'm not even going to try to say it because I get it wrong every fucking time. I think it's Frozen Daughters, something TV, whatever. Anyway, just go to the description and click on that link. And Torstein has probably posted that link a couple of times. Let's see. Anybody else see any highlighting Rod? Thank you for coming so much. One of the first people. Yeah, I know we're all going to have different opinions on this. Is an opinion topic. This isn't a fact topic. This is totally an opinion topic. So all opinions are welcome. I may have a different opinion than you, but that doesn't mean yours is any less valid than mine. Okay, I may be very emotional about it, but you can be too. It's all good. So it's fine. It's fine. All opinions are welcome. Just no being rude and mean. That's all I care about. Anyway, guys.
Mean but like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Right. Diane, thank you so
Right.
much for coming. You were a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. You can come
Thank
on
you, Diane.
anytime. Women's Wednesday is a good time to join too, by the way.
Okay.
We're gonna do Women's Wednesday on New Year's Day. Will be the first show of the year, so that will be kind of fun. Your does want Sandy wants to know your Twitter.
Oh geez, I don't have one. I hate Twitter. I have a YouTube
Twitter, I
channel.
never use
I have a
it.
YouTube channel. I only have one video on it right now on why I'm an anti-nihilist. It was part of the contest for it. I'm working on a video on the right to die for euthanasia currently.
Oh.
But apart from that, I'm not really working on much content. But I mean, if people want to talk to me, they should probably go into Discord instead.
I love that topic, by the way. I really do. The humans' right
Yeah,
to die.
it's a difficult one to talk about too, because I had to do a lot of rewriting, because you really have to think about, well, sure, you want to appeal to bodily autonomy, but there's situations where people are not really fit to determine what's best for them. They can be sort of delusional in some sense. Maybe they go through temporary hardship. So, like, you can't give the right to die to anyone who just comes in and say, hey, I just want to die, because that can cause a lot of issues.
You should come on the next Monday Madness and talk about that, which Val might be running that show. I don't know. Next Monday is up in the air because I have resets going on. So I do have kind of organized for Oz to run the show, but I probably will have a guest host, like hosting it, which will probably be Val, and Jim will be here too. So it would be great if you came on next Monday to talk about that topic. I love.
I mean, if you want to talk about that topic and bring you different ideas about that, sure.
And then introduce your channel and get people subscribing to you before you do it. So
I mean, I'll have about 50 subscribers. I'm not necessarily looking for subscribers. I'm more interested in having some videos about like some kind of points and arguments I want to put out there in the internet, and just be able to link that instead of having to send it full text or some bullshit like that.
Okay, well, whatever you want to do, but I've got to get going, guys. So
sure.
Bye, Diane. Love having you on.
It was nice to be on the show.
Yes.
Thank you
for
inviting me.
jumping on.
Cool
really.
glasses, Diane, by the way.
Yes, I love the hearts.
Wow, I get so many compliments. It's shocking.
I'll try to show my face next time. I promise.
What is your channel name?
It's Lucy. I mean, I guess someone can link it. I mean, I guess I can link it myself, but I'll just link my only video I posted so far. I'll put in the YouTube chat, I guess. But I can't post links. God damn it. But
okay, I really gotta take a puppy for a walk. But
yeah, I guess I'll link it to anyone who's interested in the Discord server because I can't link it in the YouTube chat.
Tell me what it is.
Where's Bob?
Can I send it on? Is there text chat here?
You can put it in the description. You can put it in the comments of this video, man.
Well, I'm trying, but it doesn't work. But I sent the link to you guys.
Are you a subscriber on my channel?
No, but I guess I should be, right?
Okay. Have you seen it?
No, never. But we could exploit, each other in this way. But I just jumped in because someone posted a link of your live, and Amanda didn't want to jump in. She was a bit too tired for that. So I was like, yeah, I could just try to have a call discussion. I already seen a lot of another live that you did together before, but I have to admit I'm not really familiar with all of your content, respectively. But I'm definitely interested in what you have to bring to the table. So.
Okay, great, awesome, nice meeting you.
Yeah, very nice meeting you.
And I'll try to show my face next time. I promise. It's just I really couldn't right now.
Very soon. Okay, we're gonna call it a night, right, Christine?
Yes. Yeah. I have a dog that really needs some attention.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, good night, children.
All right, you guys.
Well, everyone.
Bye.
Talk to you next year.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Talk to you next year.
No, talk to you in the next decade.
Wednesday, guys.
That's right. Technically, it's the next decade. You're right.
Ooh.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Long time no see.
That works. All right, guys.
I haven't seen you since last decade. Wow.
Ooh.
We'll be able to say that to each other.
But thank you for coming on, all of you guys. Love you so much, and have a
Bye.
very happy
Thanks for hosting the show. Have a good night.
Stay safe, guys.
Ah.